welcome back. Today we are playing with the brand new second generation, I believe, AeroBlend Airbrush Makeup system. And I have been fortunate enough to be in contact with the company and partner with them for this video. They did send me this to try. I have been trying it for probably about the last 6 weeks, but I didn't want to share it with you guys sooner because I really wanted to get the hang of it so that I could give you guys like the full download on how it works and everything. So this is the actual system herself, and it is this really actually like easy, it's battery operated, but for travel and stuff, but you can also just plug it in so that you don't have to use a battery. So if you're not going anywhere, like I'm not going anywhere, I just keep it plugged in, and it has just kind of all of your little touch controls on the top right here. When you turn it on, it makes that sound to let you know that it's on. And it's got 3 controls right here for different pressures. And so you kind of start at the lowest setting and you work your way up. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you know, it does take a little bit of kind of getting used to. So today we are going to be applying my foundation with this and some highlighter with this as well. And I'll kind of walk you guys through the way that the system works and how to maintain it, how to use it, how to make sure that, you know, it always kind of works properly and what you can and can't do with it. And we're also going to wear test the integrity of the foundation for my entire day, the same way we do with any foundation. So I'm going to move you guys in and we will start putting some makeup on my face with this airbrush machine. Okay, so I'm going to cut to the chase and put the makeup on first, and then we'll talk about the ingredients and the promises and all the claims and everything. So I am starting today. I actually have this really great little like kit that they sent me of all these different foundations, but the one that matched me the best was the shade N10. And it's a very liquidy foundation. It's available in much larger bottles, obviously, for, you know, once you find your shade. And you really want to shake the devil out of it because it's very thin and it has kind of like suspended pigments in it. And so you want to make sure that it's all nice and mixed up. You got your little bad boy here. And you're going to put like 5 to 7 drops of this in here, depending on how much coverage you want. I'm going for a pretty light coverage, but I also want to add a little bit of extra coverage to some of the like blemishes, my under eyes, and things like that. And you want to stay like 4 or 5 inches away from your face when you first start, because otherwise it'll kind of, I mean, just like anything else, you can over apply makeup, and so you don't want it to look cakey or anything. And so to get a really sheer cover, so I usually start out by just getting it started on my hand. No big deal. You can kind of test on a piece of paper when you're first starting out just to see kind of like what pressure you like, but then you can just start. One of the biggest tips that I have for this is don't squinch your face up, because it will apply over the squinched portions and you'll get kind of lines. So you just kind of move in a steady circular motion. And I have run out of product. And so you can see that it just made a really nice kind of chill, very thin layer. So you don't end up with like a ton of coverage right off the bat, but you can build the coverage really nicely. And this is totally water soluble when it first goes on, which is crazy to me. So like if you don't like what you did, you can just go wash your face with water. You don't even have to put like cleanser on it or anything. And so when you're cleaning this, you can clean it with just water too, which I think is really cool. It kind of speaks to the ingredients because you're not having to like fight something really like heavy and kind of like oily out of your system. So I'm gonna add about 5 more drops. And I'm going to go over my kind of blemishy areas just a little bit. Like I'm gonna kind of hesitate on them a little bit longer, but the same distance and the same pressure. I'm working at the highest pressure when I do this right now. Okay, so you can see that I have added a little more coverage in the places that I needed it, kind of around my blemishes and underneath my eyes and on my melasma. So you can apply like cream products right on top of it like this. That's totally fine because it basically is just a really even coating of foundation. Or you can powder it down and just wear it like a regular foundation and put your powder products on top. I'm gonna zoom in, turn my lights away so that you guys can kind of see the finish that I achieved on my skin. and then we will go into using the highlighter real quick.
There we go. So you can see I achieved a really skin-like kind of coverage level, and you can continue building this stuff. It doesn't feel heavy on your skin because it's really, really thin. Like the actual foundation is so thin because it has to go through an airbrush. So if it ever splatters or anything, it's probably because you need to either up the pressure or clean the needle out. But if you're responsible about cleaning it every single time, just with a little bit of water, you just run water through it, then it shouldn't do that. And I just really love this finish without powder or anything. So we're gonna be going for my typical kind of no powder look today and going in with some cream products and their highlighter, and let's go ahead and do that.
Like I said, it's pretty much water soluble before it completely like dries down. And so you can kind of get it off your lips even easier than a lot of the foundation products. And I'm not even gonna bother with concealer. So now I'm going to go in with the Champagne Toast highlighter, and again, give these babies a good shake. They tend to settle, but this is so beautiful. One of the like just kind of things that you have to do in between is just kind of make sure that all the product is out of there, and then you can just reload it with another color. You clean it at the end, but you don't have to clean it kind of between products as long as everything kind of stays wet. The air needs to go inside of this for it to drip. I'm just going like 3 or 4 drops of the highlighter. Get it started on my hand there. And this is a really beautiful, very subtle highlight. So I'm actually gonna kind of go to town. You can actually mix it with your foundation too, which I think is really, really pretty. There are also blushes and stuff in the collection. I am just going to be doing my foundation and my highlight with it today and kind of just walking you guys through kind of some of my other products so that you can see how it cooperates with the rest of your collection.
Look how freaking awesome that highlight is. It's so pretty, and I could really pile it on, but I think that that is just like a really pretty kind of like all over dusting that I wouldn't be able to achieve necessarily with a regular powder highlight. It's just so diffused. It's so beautiful.
How do you like this, guys?
My bruise is starting to turn like yellow.
If you guys didn't watch Wednesday's video where I talked about how I smacked my head on a decorative rhinoceros on my wall, that video is a disaster. I am a disaster, but it is still worth watching. But yeah, I'm doing better, but it's turning all different shades of really uncomfortable colors. I'm going to work with my Ilia for this. So this is the Ilia multi-stick that I'm in love with in the shade A Fine Romance, and I'm just putting it on a sponge because when you use this airbrush makeup, you don't want to disrupt it too much, and so I want to make sure that I'm dabbing more than I'm like wiping, if that makes sense. Same way you would with pretty much anything once you've got a good layer of it on. You just kind of don't want to disturb that really nice finish that you've achieved. So you guys know I'm a blush girl. So it does that every once in a while. It like yells at you and lets you know that it's still on so that you turn it off if you need to. And even if you do disrupt this product, it's such a thin layer that it's not gonna do weird, embarrassing stuff. Like it's, you know, it's just a cream product at the end of the day, or like a liquid to cream product. So it has a really, really beautiful finish, and it does kind of communicate nicely with other products. And so you're not gonna end up like, unless, it's not like putting a cream product on top of a powder, I guess is my point. Spends 2 hours putting on blush. Welcome to my channel. And it actually does also come with a bronzer. I found that darker foundations, not necessarily as bronze as their bronzer, tend to work better on me for a bronzer shade, so kind of keep that in mind. They do have a huge spectrum of shades, but, and we'll get into that in a second, but I am an N10, which is the second lightest shade in the whole family, and so their bronzer tended to be a little bit dark on me. I would suggest for people my skin tone to go with like a slightly darker foundation shade to use as a bronzer. Actually, I kind of want to do a little bit of bronze. So we're just going to go one shade darker than what I am. So a, what, an N20? Yeah. And I'm just gonna contour a little bit kind of around my face. There we go. I'm gonna hold it real far away. In fact, I'm gonna turn it down to the second pressure level, and that way it's not dispensing quite as much product. And that adds just kind of a nice level of contour that helps my face blend in with the fact that I self-tanned yesterday and I never self-tanned my face. So now, yes, I cannot resist. I am going to go back in with the highlight and then we'll clean it. And if you find that when you're using these little guys, they don't want to dispense, it's just like an essential oil thing. It needs a little bit of air in it to be able to like dispense the product from a dropper, just like any dropper. So just a couple more. I'm gonna turn the pressure back up. There we go. Okay, how do we clean it? I take a little bit of water and I run it through. So you just, put it on the highest pressure. You get yourself like a paper towel or something, and it just kind of cleans itself out. And it doesn't take very long for it to run through the whole reservoir of water. And actually my personal tip, because you'll see, it's actually hard to see on here, but in the top, you'll see some of the product kind of float to the top. I'll take a Q-tip and just kind of roll that off of the top before it all dispenses out, and that makes sure that you don't leave any kind of like film in the bottom. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a little device, and you have to maintain devices. And then I will take my same little Q-tip and just kind of clean out the needle, dry it out. And you can, I've disassembled this entire thing. You can disassemble this entire thing. It has some technology in there, but it is basically at the end of the day an airbrush. And so, you can pull it out, you can clean the needle, you can tighten up all the mechanisms if you need to. There's instructions for all of that online on their website, and I will also link those instructions below. But it takes pretty much no time to go ahead and clean that guy out, and it's just ready for another use. And then it just lives in its little, whatever you call this. It's like a, stand and a motor and all that. And then it's got a switch on the bottom. Which way? Yeah. And you just turn it off. Alright guys, I'm going to go kind of throw on the last few things on my makeup, and then we will come back and talk about the ingredients and all of the claims and whatnot. Okay guys, so this is my AeroBlend makeup look completed. I'm so pumped about it. I think it's so freaking pretty. And I did use like eyeshadow and stuff on top of it without doing any kind of eye primer. I used the PYT No BS palette, as well as a little bit of the Luscious Glow Remix palette. And I used my Thrive mascara, my Thrive brow pencil, and like Glossier lip gloss and Glossier boy brow. But I had no issues with anything kind of disrupting or disturbing the product. I feel like once it dries down, I don't even need to use a setting spray because it just has that kind of built in because it already sprayed on your face, if that makes sense. So I want to talk about the ingredients here because those are really important. First of all, always cruelty-free and vegan, so that's phenomenal. The key ingredients are avocado, which hydrates and moisturizes, jojoba oil, which is a humectant, contains vitamin E and is considered anti-inflammatory. Lavender, known for its calming and healing properties. White tea extract, which is an antioxidant. Soft focus pigments, they're mineral-based pigments, so very similar to what we have been used to, having with some of these more natural, clean beauty foundations that I've been using. They will be kind of like a healthy set of like skin-loving oils with mineral pigments suspended in them. So this is the same. It has kaolin, which absorbs excess oil. So that's why I feel like this is a little bit different from using just a regular like no set foundation. You guys watched in my video on Wednesday where I tested the Kosas versus the Josie Maran Vibrancy. Kosas will soak into your skin and won't really, I don't know, it doesn't leave like an oily texture. The Vibrancy is just a lot heavier and a lot more kind of like serumy and a lot more coverage. And so you do end up feeling a little bit more like you have makeup on your face, and you do want to powder it down because it doesn't have like built-in technology to kind of dry down the way that this does. So this has a little bit of like, well, I almost said an airbrush finish. Could somebody just please like slap me in the back of the head? it has like built-in powder finish to it, not mattifying necessarily, but it dries down, which you know is one of my most like, I'm so emphatic about that with every foundation. Even if it's one that I need to powder, I want to make sure that it dries down on its own, because otherwise, no matter how much powder you put on it, it's just going to get like gummy and heavy and cakey looking, and this doesn't need that, and so it doesn't do that. And so I really, really like it, and my skin really likes it, so that's really awesome too. And my framing probably changed because I had to change my battery. So this is the AeroBlend 2.0, and a starter kit for everything that I have, all of the sample foundations and, you know, the whole kit and caboodle here is $139 on their website. And you can kind of select your shade range. So there's 4 different shade ranges, but the shade ranges come with like tons of colors in them. And so they do have a shade match guarantee. And all this stuff's on Amazon. So if you really like your foundation and you want it like tomorrow, you can order it on Amazon, which is really cool. So it says, achieve flawless looking skin in a breeze. The starter kit contains everything you need to start airbrushing every day. Our highly pigmented formula is water-based, long-lasting, faster to apply than traditional makeup. Choose between our basic model or our new deluxe model that has an internal battery for increased flexibility. So you do have the option of whether you need the battery or not. I personally probably would, anytime I'm going to be traveling, I don't mind bringing the plug with me anyway, but that's totally up to you. The kit contains the compressor, the airbrush stylus, the hose and plug, 5 foundations in a selected shade range, a blush, a highlighter, and a bronzer additionally to the foundations, 1-year warranty, color match guarantee, and deluxe model comes with an internal battery. And one thing I forgot to mention is it doesn't have silicone, sulfates, fragrance, parabens, synthetic harsh dyes, or petroleum-derived ingredients. So it is going to be a lot more skin-loving, not just because of the ingredients that are in it, but because of the things that are left out of it. And like I said, guys, you know, I partner with a few brands, and I'm very choosy about them. And I wanted to make sure that I loved this product before I got on here and started talking about it. Full disclosure, guys, I always have the ability when I decide to, you know, take a company up on these offers to then try their product and then say no if I think that it is not something that's going to match my needs, match my audience, stand up to my kind of ethical and performance standards. And I have had, like I said, the pleasure of being able to use this thing for at least like 6 weeks now, and I really, really like it. And I think that it is an unbelievable finish. I think it is so gorgeous. And so I did want to just kind of clarify that with you guys. Full transparency, I'm not going to partner with a brand that I don't believe in. And this is a product and a brand that have really taken care to hit all the marks. So let me turn my lights away here so that you guys can see full application before we start the wear test. There we go. All right. So we always talk about how a finishing spray or a certain powder or a certain foundation will give you an airbrushed finish. You don't need a metaphor for this. It's literally airbrushed. So there's a learning curve for sure. And that's why I like that it's water-based, because you can just wipe it off and kind of put your primer back on and start over. But I love that this hits the perfect in-between for me, between a product that I don't have to powder, but a product that also isn't going to be like molten on my skin all day. It dries down on its own. So you can see it gives you this unbelievable skin finish. It's so stinking fast. A little goes such a long way. I mean, you saw I used a total of 10 drops, maybe 14 drops on my entire face, and that was for my foundation and my concealer, and I did go ham sandwich on the highlight. So I'm going to wear this for the rest of my day. I will check in with you guys at the end of the day and see kind of how this performed, how it stood up to, you know, wear and tear and all that. Same thing we always do with my foundation wear test. But so far, you guys, I love this. I want you to know this is not a first impression at all. So I will see you guys at the end of my day. All right, dudes. My hair on my face. It is the end of my day, and I'm still feeling like a glowing princess. So this is the makeup after 8 hours. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a second, but I am just so pleased. And like I said, I've been wearing this for like 6 weeks now. The main thing that I get from people who see me either in pictures or in person is that they're like, wow, your skin looks amazing. And I'm just like, thanks, but I'm wearing makeup. I mean, I know it looks, you can tell that I'm wearing makeup because I've got like, you know, eyeshadow on and stuff like that, but even on its own, like this stuff just looks and wears like really comfortably, like natural skin all day. So let me zoom you guys in. My mom is super excited to try this too. It's really funny. I was talking to her on the phone. I was like, Mom, I'm doing a video about some airbrush makeup. She's like, oh my God, I want to try it. And I was like, I'll bring it home for Christmas. She's so excited. She's so excited. This is how it looks at the end of my day, low light. And I've been blowing my nose all day. So the way that it kind of broke up around my nose is to be expected, but it does kind of break up almost like you put a lightweight powder on top of it. It doesn't break up like a, I don't know, like an oily finish kind of makeup product, which is so crazy because, you know, in case anyone needs a reminder, I didn't powder this. Like you can, but I didn't. And so even like, you know, sensitive areas, like where I had that mole removed and where I've been like wiping and stuff like that, it didn't break up really in like an embarrassing way. And then underneath my eyes, I wanted to kind of give a tip here, I guess, and that is that if you are going to use concealer, I didn't use concealer today, I just sprayed this directly on, it's just so fast. But if you are going to go in with like a brightener or something like that to cover dark circles, do it before you airbrush, just because you want this to be kind of like the last layer so that you don't end up like disturbing it. You don't want to like move it around with a sponge afterwards or anything. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it is different from putting on regular makeup, so it's worth mentioning. But look at how beautiful this finish has stayed. It's not like it faded and it did it in a polite way and now it doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup anymore. Like it still looks really flawless. It still looks really bright and pretty, and it's like, it doesn't feel like anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel tacky or anything. It doesn't come off on my hands. It's an ab workout standing up like that. So I obviously think that this is like a 10 out of 10. I've been actually really excited to share this with you guys. I just wanted to make sure that I got really proficient with it before I got on camera and started talking about it, because the only thing really is that obviously this is a completely new delivery system for makeup. And so, you know, be gentle with yourself. If you decide to get one of these, just make sure that you kind of dedicate a little bit of time that's not first thing in the morning when you're like pressed for time trying to get out the door, and practice a little bit and have just kind of like something damp, because you can just wipe it off of your face. It's totally water soluble before it dries down, and so you can just wipe it off of your face and kind of like try again. And that's what I did for a while, just kind of like figuring out all of the shade matches and everything like that. And you just kind of like, you know, you test them just like you would test anything else. You kind of shade match on this part of your face and just kind of sit and wait and see what undertones match your skin and stuff. So I am, like I said, N10, and I really like the Champagne Toast highlighter, and I use N20 as my like bronzer shade. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope that this is exciting for you guys. I will probably continue using this to do my base for like more beauty tutorials and stuff, because it really gets it out of the way. Like if we're gonna do like an eye tutorial or something and you guys see like, oh wow, her skin looks really flawless, like I probably did it with the AeroBlend because it is so stinking fast. I was talking to my mom about it earlier and I was like, you know what's weird that I didn't even think about? I don't touch my face. Like it's so weird that you like do your makeup without touching your face, because you're so used to like and like sponge and like I don't touch my face. And I mean, yeah, I mean I used a sponge to put on my blush or whatever, but like the actual base is totally like, because you know this thing where I got this mole removed, trying to work makeup in there, it kind of disturbs the situation there, and it's kind of a sensitive area. How cool to be able to put makeup on it and catch all the little contours and grooves on that thing, cover it up completely in a lightweight way, but without having to touch it. It's kind of awesome. So, yeah, this is totally a home run. I'm really pumped about this thing. Makes an awesome gift. I know that it is also really great for mature skin because you can get that skin-like finish. A lot of mature skin doesn't do well with piles of powder. Things tend to crease. This doesn't crease. It's really awesome. So if you have any additional questions about this, let me know. I will do my best to answer them in the comments below. You can look at the link down below. I think it's just AeroBlend.com. I will go ahead and just like post that so that you guys can shop this if you want. Interesting. I had like food on my face that whole time. I don't know. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun for me. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to keep hanging out with me on this channel, guys, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. Thank you so much for watching today, and thank you to AeroBlend for partnering with me on this video and for letting me try this freaking cool product. And guys, I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.